from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News telecast here on ChannelEye Rupavahini. I'm Movin Hettiarachchi. Joining me is Sharifat Tahir. Today is the 25th of October and here are today's headlines. Rishi Sunak wins the contest to become United Kingdom's next Prime Minister. At least 16 fatalities in Bangladesh from the tropical cyclone Cyclone. Disagreements between three-wheeler associations over the fare reduction. Patients faced with a medical shortage. Steps taken to blacklist individuals who acted in improper manner in Yala National Park from entering any national park in the country. New measures to improve information technology knowledge of the youth. WhatsApp back online after a worldwide outage.
We move on to those and other stories in detail now. Rishi Sunak becomes the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom after meeting King Charles at the Buckingham Palace.
In his first speech outside Number 10, the new British PM said the UK is facing a profound economic crisis and sought to bring the stability to the country. Liz Truss listed out the achievements in her 49th premiership in a farewell speech that lasted less than 4 minutes. Speaking from the steps of Downing Street, the UK's outgoing Prime Minister offered successor Rishi Sunak her full support and said brighter days lie ahead.
It has been a huge honour to be Prime Minister of this great country, in particular to lead the nation in mourning the death of Her late Majesty the Queen after 70 years of service and welcoming the accession of His Majesty King Charles III. In just a short period, this government has acted urgently and decisively on the side of hard-working families and businesses. From my time as Prime Minister, I am more convinced than ever that we need to be bold and confront the challenges that we face. As the Roman philosopher Seneca wrote, "It's not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It's because we do not dare that they are difficult." Democracies must be able to deliver for their own people. We must be able to outcompete autocratic regimes where power lies in the hands of a few. I believe in the British people, and I know that brighter days lie ahead.
Rishi Sunak became Britain's third Prime Minister within 50 days after Liz Truss and Boris Johnson were forced to resign. In his first speech as Prime Minister, Sunak promised to unite the nation facing a profound economic crisis and acknowledged mistakes were made by his predecessors. Sunak highlighted his experience as finance minister during the pandemic to illustrate how he intends to tackle the challenges ahead.
I've just been to Buckingham Palace and accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government in his name. It is only right to explain why I am standing here as your new Prime Minister. Right now, our country is facing a profound economic crisis. The aftermath of COVID still lingers. Putin's war in Ukraine has destabilized energy markets and supply chains the world over. I want to pay tribute to my predecessor, Liz Truss. She was not wrong to want to improve growth in this country. It is a noble aim, and I admired her restlessness to create change. But some mistakes were made, not born of ill will or bad intentions. Quite the opposite, in fact, but mistakes nonetheless. And I have been elected as leader of my party and your Prime Minister, in part, to fix them. And that work begins immediately. I will place economic stability and confidence at the heart of this government's agenda. This will mean difficult decisions to come. But you saw me during COVID doing everything I could to protect people and businesses with schemes like furlough. There are always limits, more so now than ever. But I promise you this, I will bring that same compassion to the challenges we face today. The government I lead will not leave the next generation, your children and grandchildren, with a debt to settle that we were too weak to pay ourselves. I will unite our country, not with words, but with action. I will work day in and day out to deliver for you. This government will have integrity, professionalism, and accountability at every level. Trust is earned, and I will earn yours. I will always be grateful to Boris Johnson for his incredible achievements as Prime Minister, and I treasure his warmth and generosity of spirit. And I know he would agree that the mandate my party earned in 2019 is not the sole property of any one individual. It is a mandate that belongs to and unites all of us.
The 42-year-old is the UK's first Prime Minister of colour and the first Hindu to lead the country. He is also the youngest person to take office in more than 200 years. A former Chancellor with enormous personal wealth, he was appointed by King Charles to form his government. Sunak has been scrutinised over tax arrangements of his wife, Aksha Murthy, a daughter of Indian billionaire. Earlier this year, Sunak and Murthy appeared on the rich list of the UK's 250 wealthiest people, with an estimated joint net worth of 730 million sterling pounds. Sunak's election marked the pinnacle of what has been a speedy rise to power. He was first elected as an MP in 2015 and spent 2 years in the backbenches before becoming a junior minister in Theresa May's government. Johnson gave Sunak his first major government role, appointing him as Chief Secretary to Treasury in 2019 and promoting him to Chancellor in 2020. Sunak has experience of economic crisis fighting, having guided the UK through the COVID-19 pandemic and positioned himself as the sound finance candidate. Rishi Sunak has begun to appoint his top ministerial team in a cabinet reshuffle aimed at reuniting a warring Conservative party. Jeremy Hunt will remain in his post as Chancellor of the Exchequer. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak confirmed long-time backers Dominic Raab, the former Justice Secretary, Commons Treasury Committee Chairman Mel Stride and ex-Chief Whip Mark Harper have also been tipped for jobs. Jacob Rees-Mogg has left the Business Secretary, while Chief Whip Wendy Morton and Work and Pension Secretary Chloe Smith, close allies of the outgoing PM Liz Truss, are also out. Alok Sharma has lost his job as Cabinet Officer Minister, although he will remain in charge of UK preparations for the COP27 UN Climate Summit.
U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Asia, Robert Kaproth, has arrived in Sri Lanka to meet a wide range of government and economic leaders. U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, in a tweet said that U.S. Deputy Assistant Treasury Secretary plans to engage in discussions regarding the way forward on economic recovery of the country. He will meet several government and political representatives during the visit. U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Asia, Robert Kaproth, engaged in fruitful discussions of reforms of state-owned enterprises and the petroleum and power sectors with Minister Kanchana Wijesekara today. U.S. Ambassador Chung, in a tweet, said that the relevant changes are necessary to strengthen the economy of the country. In another tweet, she said that they met with MPs Eran Wickramaratne, Harsha De Silva and other members of the opposition to hear their views on Sri Lanka's path out of the current economic crisis. The US ambassador has indicated that diversity of voices and ideas promote stronger solutions that benefit all citizens. Reports have surfaced that patients visiting the outpatient departments of the government hospitals face severe difficulties due to the medicinal shortage.
Reports have further indicated that patients are compelled to purchase medicine from private pharmacies at higher rates. The government has allocated 200 billion rupees for the health sector through this year's budget. 65 billion rupees worth of provisions are being allocated for purchasing medicinal drugs. 20% out of the entire requirements are being acquired through local manufacturers, while the rest of the 80% are being sufficed to foreign pharmaceutical companies. The medicinal shortage in hospitals have gradually increased in the past 2 months. Secretary to the Government Medical Officers Association, Dr. Haritha Alutke, said that they continuously raised the issue pertaining to the medical shortages in a considerable period of time. He said the shortages of medicinal drugs was created by prevailing crisis. Secretary to the Ministry of Health, Chanakashri Chandragupta, said that several measures were taken to medical supply with the normal service in the recent past. He said the measures were taken to open letters of credit for medicine imports as well as payments for the relevant medical suppliers amidst acute requirements of foreign exchange. He added that further steps will be taken to ensure supply of medicine in the future.
Sri Lanka Customs says earnings from the merchandise exports increased by 5.75% in September, which is an increase of $1,093 million. This way was mainly due to the increase in export earnings from apparel and textiles, tea, gems and jewelry, electrical and electronic components, and spices and essential oils. Strong export growth was recorded for top 15 export markets in the period of January to September 2022. The period of January to September, merchandise exports increased by 11.83% to $9,996 million compared to the corresponding period of 2021. The estimated value of services exports for the period of January to September was $1,455 million, increasing 3.8% over the corresponding period of 2021. The services exports estimated by Export Development Board consists of information and communication technologies, business program management, construction, financial services, and transport and logistics. Steps have been taken to blacklist individuals who acted in an improper manner inside the Yala National Park and the relevant vehicles from entering any national park in the country for a 3-year period.
The relevant steps have been taken according to a directive issued by Minister Mahinda Amaravira. The relevant decision was reached during a meeting with the participation of the Secretary to the Ministry of Wildlife and Forest Conservation, Chandra Hera. Steps have also been taken to suspend the on-duty park officials and safari tour guides who accompanied the individuals who acted in an unsafe manner towards the wildlife inside Yala National Park or the failure to control the situation. Minister Mahinda Amaravira pointed out that the engaging in such reckless driving while posing potential harm towards wildlife in a sensitive environmental zone is considered as a misconduct in accordance with the Fauna and Flora Act. A special investigation will be initiated on duty park officials or the failure to control the relevant situation. Furthermore, officials in question will remain suspended until the conclusion of the investigations, which will be conducted based on the failure to prevent such improper behavior of the individuals and in failure to report high authorities over the incident. The minister has informed the IGP to arrest the relevant individual irrespective of their social status. A decision was reached to identify the relevant individuals and vehicles pertaining to the incident and file cases against the alleged perpetrators. Accordingly, information shared on social media and mainstream media, including photographs and video footage, will be utilized to identify the relevant individuals. Another decision was reached during the meeting to issue a leaflet creating awareness among visitors to the national park over the proper conduct to be adhered during visits. When the national television inquired Sri Lanka police over the incident, they indicated that the Ministry of Wildlife is yet to notify the department in this regard.
Met Department says the inclement rainy situation prevailing across the country is expected to decline as a cyclonic condition which affected Sri Lanka has now entered Bangladesh territory. The Met Department further indicated that the heavy showers are expected to decline and showers may prevail at times in various parts of the country. The prevailing showery condition over the island is expected to reduce to some extent. Several spells of showers will occur in western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Matara districts. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places in Uva province and in Ampara and Batticaloa districts during the afternoon and night. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Meanwhile, showers or thunder showers will occur at several places over the sea areas around the island. The sea areas off the coast extending from Galle to Hambantota via Matara will be fairly rough at times and other sea areas around the island will be moderate. Three sluice gates at the Lakshapana Reservoir remain open since last evening. Nuwara District Disaster Management Unit has indicated that three sluice gates, which remained open since yesterday, were closed down this morning. However, the unit has indicated that the sluice gates will be opened again if the rainy situation continues to prevail in the catchment areas.
At least 16 people have died after cyclone slammed into Bangladesh, forcing the evacuation of about 1 million people from their homes, officials said. Around 10 million people were without power in 15 coastal districts today. While schools were shut down across the southern and southwestern regions, Cyclone Chitrang made landfall in southern Bangladesh late Monday, but authorities managed to get about 1 million people to safety because the monster weather system hit. The government officials said 14 people died, mostly after they were hit by falling trees, and 2 died after a boat sank in squally weather in Jamuna River in the north. People evacuated low-lying regions in remote islands and riverbanks were removed from the 1,000 multi-story cyclone shelters. Disaster Management Ministry said, in some cases, police had to cajole the villagers who were reluctant to abandon their homes, officials stated.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has instructed to increase the weekly fuel quota of 5 litres issued for professional passenger transport 3-wheelers to 10 litres. As the first phase, the registration of professional 3-wheelers in the Western Province is scheduled to commence on the 1st of November. This was revealed during the discussion held yesterday between Minister Kanchana Wijesekara and the Professional 3-Wheeler Associations. Accordingly, from November 6th, 10 litres of fuel per week will be issued to all 3-wheeler passenger vehicles in the Western Province. The registration of passenger transport 3-wheelers will commence from November 6th to the 13th. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that almost 1.1 million 3-wheelers have been registered with the system. He added that increasing the quota for all these 3-wheelers is not manageable at present. He pointed out the associations had previously indicated that there are close to 300,000 professional and full-time 3-wheeler drivers, and if those 3-wheelers can be registered, then the relevant fuel quota can be increased. The public have said that the 3-wheeler fares should also reduce with the fuel quota increase.
Residents in Bandaragama allege that the new trade complex, weekly fare and the new bus station continue to deteriorate due to improper utilization. These sites have been abandoned and not utilized for a period of more than 2.5 years. The bus station, built in 2004, was renovated in 2014 at a cost of 2 million rupees. Yet none of the bus commuting across the town enter the premises. Accordingly, the relevant site is now being used as a private parking lot. A traffic congestion has occurred within the town area due to the continuous use of the old bus station situated in the middle of town. This is the current situation of the Bandaragama weekly fare, built at a cost of 40 million rupees. The premises have been utilized as a garbage collection centre. The supermarket complex, constructed 4 years back in Bandaragama town, is currently deteriorating condition. The maintenance of the premises have not been properly managed during this period.
Minister Roshan Ranasinghe says the thoughts and aspirations of the youth should be realized comprehensively, while the resources in all institutions should be utilized for the youth in the country.
He made these remarks while taking part in a youth development strategic program on the National Youth Council today. The national program, A Joint Access for the Future of Youth, was unveiled today. The National Youth Services Council and Google Inc. entered into a new MOU during the program. The aim of the program is to facilitate the space to increase the knowledge of information technology in the youth in the institution affiliated with
fallen into a well
සීකේට පුළුවන් නම් මටත් පුළුවන්. සීකේට පුළුවන් නම් මටත් පුළුවන්. සීකේට පුළුවන් නම් මටත් පුළුවන්. සීකේට පුළුවන් නම් හැමෝටම පුළුවන්. 100% දේශීය නැවුම් එළකිරිවල පෝෂණය. ප්‍රීමා ස්ටෙලා සෙට් යෝගට්.
ජය ගන්න වැඩි වෙන්න.
வடக்கு கிழக்கிற்கு சுபிட்சமான விடியல் தரும் பலம்புரி ராசியுடன் கூடிய 3 இலக்கங்களுக்கு 2 மில்லியன் ரூபாய், 3 இலக்கங்களுக்கு 1 லட்சம் ரூபாய், 2 இலக்கங்களுக்கு 500 ரூபாய். ராசி அடையாளத்திற்கும் பரிசுகள். அக்டோபர் 28 விசேஷ லோத்தர் சீட்டெழுத்து. வாழ்க்கைக்கு ஒளியூட்டும் அபிவிருத்தி லோத்தர் சபை.
Welcome back, and we move on to news overseas. The messaging platform WhatsApp has come back online after an outage that affected users around the world. Meta, which owns WhatsApp, said the problem had been fixed but did not give a reason for the disruption.
People were attempting to send and receive messages on WhatsApp, which was about 2 billion users globally, which reporting issues following the outage. More than 12,000 reports were posted within a half an hour, according to the service status website Down Detector. However, the service seemed to be returning to many users after about 2 hours. As WhatsApp experienced difficulties, many people complained on social media that they could not send or receive messages. Users who tried to use the app on the morning were faced with a connecting message. The outage is likely to have been caused significant disruption. The app, which offers end-to-end encryption for messages, is a popular method of group communication for social, work and parenting activities. It has even been used controversially by government ministers. Accordingly, the Internet Monitoring Organization, NetBlocks, and the outage affected users both in the UK and around the world. Last year, WhatsApp went down as a part of a 6-hour outage, which also hit Facebook, Oculus and Instagram. Facebook later said the global problem was caused by configuration change.
In the meantime, whooper swans from Russia begin arriving at Lake Furin and Lake Oneto in Nemuro city, the nation's most popular stopover for migratory birds. A flock of swans has arrived from Russia at lakes in Japan's northernmost prefecture of Hokkaido. Swans began arriving at the Lake Furin and Lake Oneto in Nemuro City, which is the nation's most populous stopover from migratory birds. In early October, around 100 swans, including grey-feathered young ones, have gathered in their wintering place. The number of swans will likely increase to around 2,000 by the mid-November, and they will migrate to the direction of main island Honshu in mid-December.
Now on to sports news. Now the Cricket World Cup is well underway, the T20 World Cup, and Sri Lanka is facing the first match. In today's encounter between Australia and Sri Lanka, Australia managed to secure a 7-wicket victory comfortably.
Winning the toss, Australia opted to field first. Accordingly, the Sri Lankan innings was opted by Pathum Nissanka and Kusal Mendis. Pathum Nissanka scored 40 runs, while Charit Asalanka scored 38 for the Sri Lankan innings. Accordingly, Sri Lanka posted a total of 157 runs with a loss of 6 wickets. Chasing 158 runs for the win, Australia managed to clinch the victory in the 16th over while only losing 3 wickets in the chase. Marcus Stoinis, putting up an excellent batting performance, scored 59 runs in 18 balls at a strike rate of 327.77. He scored 6 sixes and 4 boundaries. Captain Aaron Finch scored 31. Marcus was named man of the match.
இப்படி வந்திட இப்படி அல்பங்கள்.
That's it for tonight's English News Telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.